Afshan, thank you for joining me, Dr. Rob Kiltz, Carnivore Conversations. And Afshan has some really, really amazing things to share regarding the potential toxins that women or men are exposed to in everyday skin products, hair products, life products. So maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Kills, for having me. This is an absolutely fabulous opportunity and one I'm so grateful for. My name is Afshan, and I am the founder of Pregnancy Safe Cosmetics. You can find us at pregnancySafeCosmetics.com. And let me just tell you what I'm going to talk about and what I do is not just for pregnant women, it's for everyone. So, my company has two core missions. One is to educate people about the toxins in our personal care products. That means your hair care, your bath care, your skin care, your facial washes, your cosmetics, your fragrances, shampoo, conditioner, everything you're using every single day. I want to educate you about what's safe, what's not safe. If you're pregnant, if you're trying to conceive, if you're nursing an infant, and also if you're not interested in having children at all, because it does affect you if you have no interest whatsoever. Um, the so with that, I can jump into the research and what's safe or not safe. Let me just tell you one brief thing.
Please.
Right out the set. My company right now is focused on kind of communicating and talking to people in the maternal health field. So if you have anything to do with maternal fitness, maternal nutrition, if you're a lactation consultant, a doula, if you're a reproductive endocrinologist, if you deal with women who are trying to conceive, nursing an infant, pregnant, please get in touch with us. We will give you free videos, educational materials, and we don't really ask you anything in return. On top of it, if you want, it's optional. It's not necessary. We will also give you our boxed ensembles of makeup at a discount, and you can resell them at the full price and get an added revenue stream. When you find out what the 90, if not 99%, if not 100% of the makeup and even the organic stuff does to this group of women, you will want to advocate for it. So with that, I can launch into the research.
Well, let me ask you a couple questions.
Yeah,
First, how did you get involved in this area of health and wellness? Maybe you could take us back to your history and some of the things about
yes.
yourself that exposed you to this new science and this new knowledge.
So basically, it's a kind of a long story, but my background, I come from a family of physicians. We have, if we count our extended family, my cousins, my mother's uncles, etc., we have like 19 physicians in the family, and they're all in the U.S. Um, and I say that because I'm from an immigrant background. I'm from South Asia. Um, so that's my background, but I worked in PR and consulting firms, and I've worked for consulting firms in the beauty business. Okay, so that's kind of my work background. How did I
Uh-huh.
get into this? I moved in my 30s to France, and basically, I got extremely sick. I got to the point where I didn't know what was wrong with me. I went from 130 something pounds to 175 in 6 months. I went to the doctors here. They said every test was unremarkable, totally normal. We don't know what's wrong with you. I wasn't eating anything, but I was gaining weight. I got to the point I could not walk. I was wheelchaired back home by my husband to San Francisco. My parents, who are physicians, took me to the best hospitals, and a lot of tests came back unremarkable except hormones.
Hmm.
My thyroid was a little off. My progesterone and estrogen were a little off. My prolactin was a little off. They fixed all those things. I felt a tad better, but really not good at all. And I struggled.
Hmm.
Finally, for a couple of years, I struggled, and I went to my sister's wedding, and someone said in Chicago, and someone said, "It sounds like you have intolerances. You should really checked that out and put together a food journal, started tracking my food, and created a food journal and went back to France. And someone in France, and we lived in Versailles. I live in Versailles now. Said, "My God, you're doing a food journal? How like God, like from the dinosaur like age? Why don't you just go to the 16th right here in Paris? They'll take a blood sample and they'll tell you whatever you're intolerant to."
Hmm.
And it's called Laboratory Zamaria in the 16th, and they will give you a number for every, like for 300 things you can put in your mouth, and from drinks to spices to you name it, and they'll tell you if you're intolerant. The higher the number, the more intolerant you are. Over 300 you're allergic, over 40 you're intolerant, and below 40 you can eat it. So I came out with a list that matched my food journal, told my mother, and my mother said, "Bah, humbug. Come back to the US and let's get a proper back scratch test. I don't know about this Alyssa IgG. I've never heard of it." So I did that. I met with the leading top immunologist, allergist immunologist. And before that, I actually met with the top neurologist, and I had to actually get like a panel of people looking over my case, and my mother's friend, who's a neurologist, to like put together the case to actually submit it for review for the top neurologist who specializes in like fluke cases to accept it, because I was having something that mimicked a stroke where I couldn't talk, I couldn't remember, I couldn't do anything, and I had no idea what it was, and then it would go away. And it was pretty scary. And I was having, and I had trouble walking, and now all this stuff. And he said, "I think it's like a complex migraine." And then I met with the allergist immunologist, and he did a back scratch test. And every time I did one of these things, like the food journal came out with a small list, then the blood test confirmed that list and made it bigger, and then the back scratch list confirmed that list and made it bigger. And so in front of me, I had this list of food that I could not put in my mouth. I felt like I was the protagonist in a bad, like, teen vampire flick or werewolf flick, where the moon came out and I doubled over and I was screaming, "Ah," every time I put something in my mouth, because I would react so much. I mean, from brain fog to these this kind of funky paralysis that was supposed to be a complex migraine, to, I mean, you name it. And basically, my body was saying, "Don't eat this stuff. Don't eat this stuff." Well, guess what I could eat? Meat. I had no problem with meat. I ate meat. I didn't know what carnivore was. I didn't know what paleo was. I didn't know what keto was. I had never heard of any things. I'd rarely kind of heard of Atkins, didn't know what it was. Just a word to me, Atkins. Who knows what it was? So I started taking off everything that that these blood tests and back scratch tests told me not to put in my mouth. Felt much better, and my husband said, "Hey, let's try to get pregnant."
Wow.
So I said, "Okay." Went to the doctor. I had a history of endometriosis. Wanted to put me on Lupron, which, for anyone who doesn't know, puts you in a state of menopause, false menopause, for a couple of months. And that was it. My allergies went through the roof. Now I couldn't eat corn. I couldn't eat rice. I couldn't eat potatoes. Couldn't eat gluten. On top of no lentils, no peas, no cola, no citrus, no dairy, no eggs, no soy. No tea. I mean, you name it. I could have coffee. I could have no figs. I could have coffee. I could have dates. I could have cantaloupe. Some berries bothered me. And I could have meat. I could have meat. I couldn't have spices. I could have meat, salt, water. Really, it was crazy. No butter, nothing.
How long ago was this?
This was quite some time ago. It started in 2008.
Okay.
And I got diagnosed 2012, and I got it went up to 2015. Yeah, and right alongside the Lupron, I was trying IVIG, which did kind of help a little bit. Humira didn't do anything. Neupogen, all these other things that were supposed to calm down the immune system that was overactive, because when the immune system kicks up, you have inflammation and you have all these problems. Finally, I complained, and a friend of mine said, "You know what you're doing." Oh, and I couldn't have lentils. I couldn't have beans. Couldn't have legume. I
So,
mean,
so all the plants were causing significant side effects.
side effects. They were killing me. I couldn't. I mean,
Couldn't walk.
I couldn't walk and I couldn't breathe. I had something called costochondritis, which basically is an inflammation of the chest wall. And you could poke, and I would eat it, and you could poke my ribs, the area above my ribs, and there were little pouches of water, and it would be indented.
Wow.
I walked around with prednisone in my pocket all the time. Popped 10 milligrams of prednisone every time I ate something that was not just meat, water, and salt.
And the Lupron also made it worse.
Lupron made it horrible.
Okay.
And there's a science to this that I'm going to get into, because why all of this I wanted to understand, and I understand it now, and I can back up everything I say from a medical study. So there is a whole science behind this, and it directly feeds into what I'm doing now.
What was the aha moment in the sense of you removed things or recognized the things that were causing your problems?
I mean, I just removed everything. I didn't really know it was carnivore or keto or anything like that. I just did what the medical tests were telling me, because the doctors didn't find out anything wrong with me, except, whatever was happening to me was caused by food. So they just kept telling me, remove this, remove this, remove this. So I did. Alongside, I was trying to get pregnant. And so I was putting in all these other things. It didn't really help me.
Mhm.
Finally, but I didn't have any choice, because I literally couldn't breathe. When the costochondritis swelled up, I couldn't breathe. I'd have to take the prednisone and get an inhaler to even be able to breathe. So it was, and the levels were very high. They were like inching into like 300, which means close to a proper allergy, which leads you down the road of anaphylactic. So I thought, okay, I got to do something. And I talked to a friend of mine, and she said that, I think that you're doing paleo. And I was like, what the heck is paleo? I never heard of paleo. Someone else told me, yeah, man, you're doing paleo. You should just own it. Go paleo. Go buy yourself a cookbook and like own it. I was like, I don't know what this is. Let me Google it. Let me figure it out.
All right.
Started doing paleo and got pregnant on that. And within 3 months of doing paleo, I got pregnant, and never felt better in my life. And then I decided I would go ahead and start, putting together, a wellness strategy that involved putting everything in my life organic. I should have learned that, it was organic stuff that was putting me on the path, but I didn't actually, I didn't put two and two together. So I changed my makeup. I changed everything in my life to organic. And I basically started putting organic oil. And actually, I should have brought this. Do you mind if I go and walk with you? I
Yeah,
want to
please.
show you guys something
Yeah,
really
please.
important. Okay. Because I meant to take it with me. Hang on. The daughter's kind of sleeping. I'm in France, and it's
What time
late
is it there?
9:29 with the time change, but I just want to show everybody, because I think this is really important. I started using this. This is a 100 milliliter bottle of essential oils. And I put this on my body every day, every time I showered, from head to toe. I used 2 or 3 bottles, maybe a month. Now, that's essential oils. I want to show you, and it's 100 milliliters. I want to show people what 5 milliliters looks like. because I don't think people realize, and I'm going to tell you, where is the 5 milliliters? This is a 5 milliliter syringe. That's it. That's a tiny little bit of amount, okay? So to make 5 milliliters of this, the amount of plants that you need, it's pounds, it's tons, it's thousands, hundreds, sometimes.
Right.
The
To squeeze a
amount,
little bit of oil out of a seed or a plant, it's a very, very tiny amount that you squeeze out. So you need a lot of bulk to get.
well, there's a difference between pressed oil and essential oil. Essential oils are oils where you basically take the essence and you take very high concentrations and you squeeze them down. And I actually have, I'm just gonna take 1 second. I'm gonna find it.
We easily are editing this, don't?
Essential oil, 8 pounds of rosemary. So, I mean, nobody in a caveman days or ever in the history of humanity ate 8 pounds of rosemary. Nobody did, nor 7 pounds of thyme or I mean, it takes 8,000 roses to make like 15 milliliters of rose essential oil.
Wow.
So what you're doing is you're taking such incredible high concentrations of plants and you're smothering them on your skin. And there are a number of myths I want to dispel. And the number one is that when you put something on your skin, it doesn't go inside of you. Yes, it does. Um, uh, we should. So anyway, this is the road that took me to where I ended up, because what happened was I'm putting all these essential oils on my body every single day, and I'm feeling great. I'm looking great. I have a picture of myself when I was pregnant, and I was skinny. I looked like a model. I mean, I'll send it to you. It's like amazing. It was in this Starbucks bathroom, but I was like, hey, I look good. And the thing is, I went in at 28 weeks, was hospitalized because I actually went in for a sonogram. I was living in France and decided to visit my mom. And I told my mom, hey, let's go do this commercial sonogram, 3D sonogram. And the sonographer, my mother lives in Northern California, about 10 minutes north of Berkeley. So the sonographer worked at Ultivates, and she said, what's going on here? What's your due date? No. Something's wrong. Take this right now to your OBGYN. I did. And she said, I want you to go to the hospital tomorrow, emergency, right now. They strapped things on me. They checked me out. They admitted me. They said, you're going to stay here until you give birth. And I'm like, but it's June and she's due in September. I said, she probably won't make it till then, but let's see how long you go. She was born July 13th, 2 pounds, 8 ounces, 30 weeks. And the doctor walked into the office, and I had taken out that essential oil mix and put it on, the table, because I wanted to eventually take a shower and I love using that stuff. And he was from Spain, and in France and in Europe, they know about essential oils. They know, they've known for years. And he said, what is that? And I said, is that essential oils? And I said, yeah, that's essential oils. Smell, it's so great. And he said, no, don't use that. And I've got physicians in my family. I knew that look. I was like, oh, this is bad. So I started researching it. And, my daughter, she stopped growing. And those essential oils that I was using were linked to fetal growth retardation, preeclampsia, preterm birth. I found out while I was researching it that essential oils are a new class of endocrine disruptors. So now to get into the research, 75% of the cosmetics in the USA, when I say cosmetics, I don't mean makeup. I mean makeup, bath care, your shampoo, your face wash, your conditioner, skincare, your lotions, your tonics, whatever you use on your
Soaps,
skin,
deodorants,
soaps, deodorants, hair
perfume,
care,
cologne.
fragrance. 75% of it contain synthetic ingredients that are called endocrine disruptors. Okay, and these synthetic ingredients before the 1970s were that we had a lot of research, but people didn't take it seriously. They didn't take it seriously, that it was so bad, until one day the amazing Shauna Swan, a reproductive epidemiologist, looked at the research and said, I don't know, this looks really bad. If this is really true, maybe they did it wrong. Let me try to debunk and prove this wrong, because it can't be this dark. She spent years trying to fiddle with the numbers, fiddle with the parameters of the research, couldn't have it change. Then she decided that she wanted to do a long-term study. So she devoted her life to it, started in the 1970s and did a 40-year study. She found, and she studied all kinds of different petrochemicals, and she found that they were all endocrine disruptors. That's what they are. Now, what are some of the things that endocrine disruptors do? They do many things. The biggest class she studied was phthalates. Phthalates, they drop sperm count. In the early 1970s, when she started measuring sperm count in Western countries, it was 97 million per milliliter. By the time she got to 2011, it was 47 million per milliliter. The decline is 1% a year, and there's nothing that you could do to make the decline less. She says that if it continues in that direction, when you get to 40 million per milliliter, which we would have gotten to in 7 years after 2011, so 2018, 2019, you get to a point where every couple has trouble getting pregnant. This is only one effect. The other effect is that they mess with the hormones that affect the development of the sexes, especially the male. So one of two things happens to male fetuses. One is that it doesn't develop properly and the body expels it. So in all Western countries that have high exposures, not high exposures, just use phthalates, I would say, in industrialized countries. In non-industrialized places, you don't have these petrochemicals. In industrialized places, you have plasticizers, petrochemicals, and everything. So wherever there is exposure to that, there's been a very high rate of miscarriage of boys. So the male species is dying out. It's not just humans. It's anywhere where we wash away the conditioners, because conditioner, what makes your hair nice and manageable in the conditioner, it's not your cocoa butter, folks. It's phthalates, okay? And you wash it away into the water. And so what else is dying out? What other males are dying out? Turtles, alligators, fish. It's killing the male species in every it's killing off males in every species. Okay, so on top of that,
males, it may be eliminating, reducing the reproductive nature of women.
It is, but that's another thing. Okay, so and then the third thing that is most stark and came out was that the little boys that were born had something called phthalate syndrome. It's a birth defect where they have smaller genitals, and by the time they get to their toddlerhood, they have undescended testicles, and later in life they develop testicular cancer. And they're either infertile or have very low sperm counts. And all of this, when your sperm health is not good, it's directly related to diabetes, heart disease, and a bunch of other just like regular good health. So that's just phthalates. And then you have bisphenols, you have parabens, you have all of these that do other things. There's a study I just posted on. I have 2 Instagram accounts. One of them is Mama's the number 4 change, and Mama's is spelled MOM with mom in it. It's mostly for my maternal health people. They don't like glossy images, posts. They want to see the words PubMed on it. They want to see the screenshot of the actual research study. And then the other one's for my individual consumers, and they like the glossy infographics, and that's just Pregnancy Safe Cosmetics. Well, I just posted it on Mamas for Change. It was premature ovarian insufficiency directly related to these endocrine disruptors. The thing is, what people don't understand is the reason why these chemicals are bad is not because they're synthetic. It's because they are endocrine disruptors. And Shauna Swan finished her research in 2011. And then, of course, she published a bunch of papers, but she really put everything together and published the book in 2017. So her book, Countdown, and it's called Countdown. Just look it up, but it's something like how the modern world affects male and female infertility to the point of extinction or something. It's like a really catchy title. It's called Countdown by Shauna Swan, SHANNA, and then it's Swan, SWAN. And she's a reproductive epidemiologist. Anyway.
Can I interrupt just real quick? So on the science and all the phthalates and the other endocrine disruptors in the scientific name, but ultimately all we need to know is that the cosmetics and all the personal care products that are made from organic compounds, which are essentially plant compounds,
I'm going to get
oils,
to that.
and
So
more.
let me get to that. So
Okay.
that's my next thing. So Shauna Swan's major study was on synthetics. It was not really on organics, and it came out in 2017. But the media was abuzz with her research. So BBC covered it, ABC covered it, Canada did a 40-minute long documentary on it. And I think then 2018, the North American Society of Endocrinologists met in Chicago and got like courageous and said, hey, everyone's talking about endocrine disruptors. We got something to announce. We think that essential oils, which are 100% organic, are also endocrine disruptors. And we think that because we've been looking into the fact that 13-year-old boys have been sprouting breasts at a rate that has been crazy. Now, this was really big news, because 13-year-old boys don't use a lot of product. Women use a lot of product. They have gone out and studied households where they've measured, essential oils, as well as meaning organic, as well as the synthetic or endocrine disruptors in men and women in the same household. And what they find is, and they look in your urine, they look in their blood, and they're there. They're even there in a nursing infant that gets no exposure from plastic containers or anything. They're not eating anything. They're just drinking milk. So this stuff passes into the mother's milk. It crosses the placental barrier. And that's very well established through medical research. Well, in these households where sometimes the men don't use a lot of cosmetics at all, and they're exposed, and the women are more exposed. So they know that it's not just through plastics, because this is another crazy thing that the media has latched onto. They think that eliminating plastics in your kitchen is the way to go, is the way to get rid of all of this. And they also think that essential oils can't be a problem. It's just the synthetic stuff. So the 3 top myths everyone needs to debunk. The first myth is, oh, if I put it on my skin, it doesn't harm me. Wrong. It does. We have proof. It gets into your body. They've measured it. Second is, well, it's bad because it's synthetic, but organic stuff is okay. No, it's bad because it's endocrine disrupting. And Time magazine did a whole spread on how essential oils are the new emerging class of endocrine disruptors. When the Endocrinologist Association came together in 2018, They said what they said, and the FDA got involved and commissioned a study by the I wrote it down here, National Institute for Environmental Health Sciences. And they studied a series of not just lavender and tea tree oil, but a bunch of essential oils, and they just studied the effect to see if, and they did it in the laboratory. They didn't like say, oh, let's see if we can have a bunch of people use these essential oils and see if they're like endocrine disrupting. No, they did it in like on mice, and they wanted to see, they isolated like the essential oil to see if it had any endocrine disrupting property, and it did. Every single essential oil they studied all had endocrine disrupting properties. So then after that, that was 2019, the FDA said, you know what, we need to research this because this is really serious. So they put together the Botanical Research Consortium, which met for the first time in 2020. And in 2021 and 2022, the major studies now looking at how these endocrine disruptors affect pregnancy, trying to conceive efforts, and nursing infants were made, and they're pretty damning. They're very damning. I mean, the nursing infants that drink the milk exposed with essential oils, and now I'm just talking essential oils. I'm not talking the synthetic stuff. They have, their hepatic enzymes, their estrogen levels change. The women who have essential oil exposure, again, I'm just talking essential oils, not the synthetic stuff. Preeclampsia, fetal growth retardation, preterm birth, embryo. One of the biggest finds is the organic stuff impedes embryo implantation, even more so than the synthetic stuff. So it's very, very serious. But unfortunately, we when it comes to the organic stuff, we miss a Shauna Swan. We are at the same point in time with the research that we were with the synthetic stuff before Shauna Swan came on the scene. We need someone to walk in and do a 40-year study with essential oils, and probably then people might take it seriously.
Okay. So we're here today to share a pointed short story that people can listen to, hear, and understand, which you've so succinctly shared so much amazing science. And what you're saying is that the common products we use that we think are safe may not be. That's really it. Okay. And
Are
so
definitely not.
we know that plants contain many chemicals, toxins, antigens that disrupt the normal function of our endocrine, neurologic, reproductive, neurovascular system. And so it may be there's a lot of hormone disruptors, endocrine disruptors, but it's likely a list far longer than that. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. Okay. Yes. I mean, the next thing I was going to say, which is really for those who don't have any interest in making babies, is that one of the things that I discovered along the way is that, and time and time again, I was told this by doctors, and then I went on to research it, and it is in the research, is that your immune system is like a house of cards that's built on the foundations of your hormones. The minute you throw your hormones out of whack, your immune system falls. And because it's a house of cards, you can go back and put the endocrine, like if your thyroid is off, your your prolactin is off, you can take pills to regulate those hormones, but your immune system won't come back. So what ends up happening is that because your immune system functions on your cellular level, and the other stuff, the hormones, function on an organ level. So what happens is, even if you're not interested in having babies, you're exposing yourself, and eventually your body just can't take it. Your immune system is off, and then you have all the immune system problems: endometriosis, psoriasis, migraines.
Every disease we suffer
everything.
from, every disease we suffer from is an inflammatory process.
Yes.
All of them.
Yes.
And so
they're all linked to your immune system.
All linked. And so essentially, again, we're putting things in and on our bodies that we think are benign, non-damaging. But in fact, what you're saying is there's plenty of research already that is sharing a personal experience that these things can be very harmful to your eggs, sperm, embryos, fetus, and every other organ system of your body. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing that people have to understand is that, you know, we were never meant to eat like 8 pounds of rosemary in one 5-second moment, you know, or, I don't know, 700 lemons,
Well,
to
think
get
about
your
it. If
citrus.
right.
And
If you think
you
about it
put
though,
it on and it's in you.
if you go out there and you just go out to your garden and you start grinding things up and putting it on your skin or in your eyes or mouth or anything or your hair, many people have adverse effects from those things. We
Absolutely.
already know that. Allergies from plants are very common, skin reactions are common. So, what's happened with the extracted essential oils is they've removed a lot of the particle components, extracted the oils essentially, which also contain some chemicals that, and many of the chemicals that were natural to the plant, and you've concentrated them. Is that what you're saying?
They're highly concentrated forms of plants. That's all
And
essential oils are. So you're taking in super high concentrations of plants.
wow.
So you can go carnivore and think that you are plant free. But if you're putting this stuff on your body, you are not plant free.
So we're not talking about food here. We're
Mm-hmm.
talking strictly because the food part of it we talk about in other areas, but we're
Yeah.
really here talking about personal care products, and even when you talk about essential oils or herbs and things like that that might be put on the skin, those also are chemical components of plants that could harm every organ system, every neurologic, hormonal, neurovascular system of our body.
Yeah, and they do. Something seemingly harmless as rosemary extract, which is you find in every organic eyeshadow. You find it because it helps it stay compact. It impedes embryo implantation.
Wow.
It absolutely impedes embryo implantation. It has found to be impede embryo implantation. So, here you are spending 40, 50, 60,000 on your IVF, and it's time for your embryo transfer, and you're putting on this beautiful organic eyeshadow. You think you're good. And then you put some Clarins Wheel Tonic because, you want to go organic, and your embryo doesn't implant. And guess what? I can pull out not one, but like, I don't know, so many, maybe 10 or 20 that will point to it.
So there are plenty
So
of studies out there already that
tons.
really tell us these things. And
Yes.
so we don't need another study, but we need to help educate, inform all of our communities ways to help improve their health and reduce the inflammation or the toxins from the chemicals directly. So tell us a little bit about your pregnancy safe cosmetic company and how you were inspired to do this.
So I originally wanted to just educate the public. I had no desire to actually make makeup. And I thought, let me go out there and put up a website and just list all the safe cosmetics. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any. There are tons of organic. I mean, my product line is 100% organic, but it doesn't have any known endocrine disruptors. I make sure I look at every single thing in the formulary. And there are some herbal extracts, but there are no essential oils in them. And the thing is that, and the herbal extracts are, because not all herbal extracts are bad, and some herbal extracts are just very watered down, and it depends on how much you're putting in, etc. So my stuff is, in my opinion, to the best of my knowledge, pregnancy safe. It's trying to conceive safe. It's lactation safe. You can use it and feed a child. So that's what I provide. Unfortunately, when I talk to people, people just don't believe. I have talked to the researchers at the National Institute for Environmental Health Services, who actually, that's the organization that has done the research on essential oils. I've talked to reproductive endocrinologists that talk against they're against the synthetic stuff. And I asked them if they would like go on a podcast or talk to me or say something, and they won't. They won't because for two reasons. One, because in the science community, unless you have a 40-year study on this stuff, they're kind of hesitant to say it. But more importantly, they just don't want to be the bad guy who points out that essential oils are bad, because right now organic is good.
The one thing I found in medicine and science is that we're highly resistant to change and new ideas. And so the most important thing I've learned is that go out and share the positive idea you believe it to be, and that's how to grow it. Because I always say pigs like to fight in mud, and so unless you like the mud, don't fight them. And it's better to share why you believe your product is great and better. And quick question related to that: what testing have you done on the products that you provide in order to show that it's less toxic or non-toxic?
Well, okay. Now, the certifications that are out there are all organic versus not.
Okay.
There's no certification program, no independent organization that exists that will actually test for, they'll just tell you this is organic, this is not. Even EWG verified, environmental working group verified, Skin Deep, when they'll list something as verified and you'll click on it and they have a category, developmental toxicity, but they consider anything organic to be low. And Beauty Counter, that is a beauty brand, actually sits on the environmental working group, which I find a huge conflict of interest. And all their stuff is categorized as non-toxic. Meanwhile, you look up each individual, ingredient, and you do find, oh, this product has eugenol by Beauty Counter, and eugenol, there's a study saying you should not use this. So what we do is we research. When the manufacturer proposes us a formulation, I research every single thing, and I say, no, that's not good. Can we do something else? That's not good. Can we do something else? And I research every single ingredient, because at the end of the day, I'm a single mom, with a 5-year-old, and I have 4 other moms working on this. We don't have VC funding, and we are a small boutique beauty brand that makes special batch, like small batch orders. And that's why we're working with, people in the maternal health field. So if you are, a pregnancy spa and you want to order 10, ensembles a month or something, or 50 ensembles a month, we can fulfill that. That's what we do. We don't really have the money to do influencer marketing, and we don't do, no beauty brand does actually. They do testing on animals. They do testing to see if their manufacturers have lead or something in it. But ultimately, to be honest, and they don't do it themselves, that they really do is they ask someone like EcoCert to come in and just verify that their stuff is organic. Well, my stuff is organic, but there's no body out there that can come in and verify that it's pregnancy safe.
So
we need that.
What should let's just say most women who are using makeup, cosmetics, and other personal products, what should they, if they're having trouble conceiving or having other neurologic symptoms, or certainly you had a lot of symptoms at the time, when should they say, okay, the doctor says they don't know what's causing my problem, or your thyroid's not working, or other hormone things are not working? What should they do about looking at the cosmetics they're using, and or eliminate them, or again, look at your products?
So if you go to PregnancySafeCosmetics.com and you click on the medical studies tab, you have 3 options. The central option is list of ingredients to avoid. You can go there and look at the list of ingredients to avoid and try to look at your own makeup. And if it has it in it, don't use it. That would be what I would say. Try to find organic ingredients that don't have anything on that list of ingredients to avoid, don't have essential oils. The other thing you can do is go to PubMed and type in every ingredient and see if there's some kind of study on it. And if you don't have time to do that, then buy my cosmetics. I would say if you're out there and if you want to help in this effort, the number one thing you can do, no matter who you are, is get in touch. I will send you for free, videos, educational videos. I'll make videos for you if you want snazzy, fun videos and not like boring, studious kind of type of videos. Put it out there. Put it on your Instagram feed, your social media, whether you have 5 or 5 million, and help us spread the word. It is really important. People don't believe me, and I'm not a doctor. The
We
biggest problem
believe
with,
you,
huh?
Afshan. We believe you. We believe you. People, I think, do believe. I think it's like anything else. Is just the more you share and put the word out there of what you found, because I agree with you. We know that a high plant-based, low animal fat diet is deadly for us. And as a doctor, we use a lot of topical medications that are absorbed all the time. And so we do know that anything that's put on or in the skin, the hair, the body, the scalp, everywhere is absorbed into the body very readily. The skin is not some impervious, it's like the GI tract in a sense. Some things can get through it. And so the most important thing is recognize that all of these chemicals, compounds come from plants, and the inflammatory immunogenic compounds come from plants or bugs, and not from eating meat. Now, are there some animal products that you can use on skin? I'm assuming in the moisturizing, the hair conditioning. What about eggs or things like that?
The problem with that, you can do at home stuff, but the problem with that is they require, they go bad. And, they require preservatives. And so, then you get back into the chemicals again. You can do at home cosmetics, sure. But if you want to sell the cosmetics, it becomes, it becomes hard. And, in some ways you have to kind of rethink the way we think of cosmetics. I mean, if I offered you, and it's funny because I went on another podcast and I asked the host, I said, I offered you an apple that would last 3 months or an apple that would last 1 week, which would you take? And he was like, the 3 months. And I was like, really? I would take the 4 or 5 days. I don't want it something that lasts. But this
Well,
is the thing,
yeah, it's interesting that fat does not mold or go rancid that quickly. Oils do.
hmm
Oils come from plants, fat comes from animals.
hmm
Butter rarely molds, and if it does, it's not butter. And so that's the interesting part of this. But essentially, whatever
Oh, I
plant.
was thinking of the eggs. I mean, I was thinking of the eggs when you
Oh
said.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I mean, you can definitely use. I mean, India and people in India do all the time. They use butter and ghee on their bodies. Sure, you can. I mean, they do that all the time. That um, pregnant women put ghee on their. And for anyone doesn't know what ghee is, it's
Clarified butter,
yeah, it's like butter. It's another
clarified.
part of
Yeah.
clarified butter. There you go. So, and they do it all the time. So you can go that route. I mean, I think selling it is, I haven't seen it out on the market, but I mean, the most important thing that people need to do is they need to advocate for stuff with, cosmetics and makeup without any endocrine disrupting, including essential oils. And I have gotten so much pushback, even from doctors, from scientists, people saying, "Oh no, you're nuts because plants can't be that bad." And it's like,
Well, I'm nuts. Join the nut farm. It's all
yeah,
good.
I'm joining
But
the nut
but
farm.
but but the whole point is that in our modern world, the masters of marketing sell products, and that we do everything we can to sell products. And so we're just now in learning how to sell our idea and sell our products. And it's
Yeah.
the same thing. And it's 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 pushing against the resistance,
hmm
not not standing back to it. And so the more you put it out there, and you've been blogging and talking about this for under a year.
So I've been on Instagram talking about it since this year, and I launched the website really September 20th, and I've been trying to get contracts with pregnancy spas, which it's really hard. So I have mostly contracts with individual like doulas, lactation consultants that'll buy small amounts of my products. My products are all nice bundled. They come in like a nice makeup bag, and they have like basically an essentials kit. But
There's
I really need two things. I need doctors to come together and start talking about this stuff. I wish there was a group like they have doctors for fertility,
well,
doctors for reproductive rights, doctors for no pregnancy safe cosmetics, and people who are willing to talk against essential oils. We really need them. And the other thing we need, I need to keep going. I need people with connections. So if you have connections in the media and the influencer world, and especially pregnancy spas or spas, please get in touch with me. If you're willing to broker a conversation, please get in touch with me, because I would love to disseminate my products. And with that, the educational videos.
well, I've been impressed by your knowledge, your inspiration, your energy, your story. That I think the inspiration is really to keep sharing that, because the more you share the story, more and more people that will see what you're saying, because the science and the doctors and the medical world are far behind what's happening on social medicine, social media. So I
Mhm.
would say the continuation of the story is the most important part to this. Do not
Well,
and so what you need, you have your
mhm,
energy and your passion to help those to reduce the suffering. And a simple fix like one, I guess not using makeup or personal care products is one idea.
mhm,
And so
mhm,
each person has to find the way to do that. I personally don't use deodorant anymore. I don't use cologne. I don't even use shampoo or conditioner.
mhm,
Uh, and I do a cold shower every day, and I don't smell anymore now that I'm carnivore. I'm eating only meat. I don't eat garlic or onions or all those spices that would emanate from my
most
body.
smells and perspiration come from the spices you eat, actually.
Well, that's my point. So all the BO, all the body odor we've been suffering from is all due to all the consumed plant chemicals that
Mhm,
are released. Because how many times do you smell someone that said garlic
mhm,
all
yeah,
the
sure.
time? Another plant chemical, right?
Mhm, yes,
And
yes.
so now, for those that are using cosmetics and other personal care products, where do they find this information, Afshan?
You need to go to pregnancySafeCosmetics.com and if you're plugging in pregnancy safe cosmetics into Google, you'll get 50 billion articles on the subject. Make sure you put it all together and put a .com on it, or then just put it in the URL field.
And can they
You'll go to my website, and you click on medical studies, you can read all this. I just want to say one last thing. Right now I'm a boutique firm and I have a small line of makeup, but I have tons of partners who are completely pregnancy safe, waiting in the wings, waiting to jump in. I just need to make a few sales. And most small boutique brands start with 1 to 5 items. So don't be scared about that. Huda Cosmetics, which is a billion-dollar firm, started with one product, fake eyelashes. So I just want to say that. But if there is something that turns you off and doesn't make you want to buy it, like give me feedback. Go into the contact us, write me a little message. And if you want to get involved and spread the word, please contact me. I will send you materials, blast it, broker a conversation, get involved. Really. And if you know doctors, pregnancy spas, maternal health experts, get them to get involved. It would be great.
what's your Instagram and YouTube channels?
I don't have a YouTube channel yet.
Yet.
I
Okay.
have at Pregnancy Safe Cosmetics, which is my one of my Instagram handles. The other one is Mama's for Change, and it's MOMMAS, the number 4 and change. They're very different. One is kind of glossy, nice images with easy to digest infographics. And the other one is kind of more, yeah, it's more in the science. And and so sometimes that turns off a certain group of people, and sometimes people like it. So, but PregnancySafeCosmetics.com,
And
that's really what you need to go to.
keep sharing the story, because I think your story is going to inspire so many women and men, young and old, infants in utero, that are suffering from so many of the diseases that we say we don't know the cause. We treat the symptoms, but quite often we aren't able to overcome the symptoms and cure people, and they're dying of these diseases.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
this information is so important, Afshan. So I was excited to meet you and listen and learn from the story. And hi, sweetie, how you doing?
She's got an ear infection, and
Oh,
she's a little I'm gonna go see the doctor tomorrow. I'm sorry, sweetie. I'll be back. I'll be back in a minute. Go lie down, okay? I'm almost done. Okay.
is there anything else you wanted to share with our community?
Um, well, I think that, I'd love more doctors to actually get involved and support me. I'd love to be able to come together and say, here are a list of people that have contacted me and support my project, even if it's not to buy my products, but also to just take the educational material. So I think yeah, just get in touch. I'd really love to. And we don't have enough money for major influencers, but if anyone has media connections, influencer connections, right now we're all about getting the word out.
It's such a pleasure. Thank you for joining us again.
Well, thank you. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. And
So
I think you are an exceptional person, dedicating so much of your time, so much of your effort, so much of your story every single day in so many ways, your resources. I think we're all lucky to have you.
well,
And
I appreciate that.
I
And I
tune
can tell you,
in
you have
every
amazing
day at the
resources.
Mighty Tribe to
Well,
get
the
my
Mighty
stories.
Tribe, but again, I number a couple things, and this is for one. Read Blue, oh my gosh, Blue Ocean, Red Ocean. It's a great business book. And the word is there are infinite people buying our products and sharing our products, and you're again. I really believe the real market is not doctors, it's not medicine, it's mommies,
Oh yeah,
mommies.
I know, but I've had, I had just to add this little anecdote. My cousin lives in LA, and she lives next to a rapper who's a mommy, an Hispanic rapper, and she has 150,000 following, and she put up my 4 posts, and I did get 80 clicks into my website, but no sales. So it
Not
was disappointing,
not yet.
not
Okay,
yet. Yes.
so a little bit, all right? So the mind is the master of the mission. Number one. You've read The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. Yes?
No. Mm-mm.
You know. Again, it took me 10 years to really just go from the single digits to begin to go like this. All right. The whole journey is years of suffering.
Mm-hmm.
That's our mission. It's years of suffering, which ultimately is strengthening, because your real passion is helping moms. That's
Yes.
what I see. All
Oh
right.
yes, absolutely.
And
I
and
mean,
and you're a blogger, you're a counselor, you're a coach, you're a cheerleader. You bring so much more to the table than just selling a product, because the products are a small part of it, believe it or not. All right.
oh yeah, they're just here to monetize my efforts, honestly,
Right. But
because
they're going to.
otherwise
But
I can't
but
afford to put in that
but
time.
you must listen to and read The Secret by Rhonda Byrne first.
Okay.
And then the Success Principles by Jack Canfield. That's the next book. All right.
Okay.
And if you look at my books, I have a lot of stuff where I list all the books I've read, because I didn't get a business background. I don't know how to run a business.
Yeah.
And so, but you have something you haven't quite seen or found the direction, right?
Right. No, we're
And,
just starting out. We're just
right.
starting out. I've got 4 passionate mommies with me, and they're doing everything for free, and it's great.
Well,
So
nothing is
hopefully,
for free. It's for future remuneration.
yes, for future
Okay.
remuneration. That's
So
right.
we're only doing what you think is free, but all the work we do may not be paid to us today, but it's a future payout,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so the number of failures that finally led to success are infinite, right?
Yes.
And again, I would say that your your simple posts are critical. Simple stories are critical. And I mean, I mostly what I do is I work to help people with fertility. What you've shared is a simple book. Your book of your research and your story is number one.
Hmm. Thank you.
That's what, if you haven't written it yet, that's what you're writing.
Hmm.
Okay. Because the book then inspires the products.
Yes.
And,
Oh, totally.
and
Totally.
it's an ebook that's for free or for $19.95 that
Hmm.
people are, because the number of women that I think, again, it's about the plants, but if they knew that their makeup was an endocrine or hormonal disruptor and they had the opportunity to buy something that was affordable and beautiful, they would buy it.
Well, that's the thing. A woman can't make a choice if she's not informed. And, Time Magazine did a whole thing. And that's another thing I want to tell everybody.
Yeah.
If you want to see some of this stuff, type in infertility BBC and you'll see the 6-minute BBC clip. Type in Time Magazine essential oils and you'll see it. And they report on what the FDA and the National Institute for Environmental Health Sciences found out about endocrine about essential oils. The finding was they are endocrine disrupting. End of story. It's not that they might affect you. They do. They
Well,
disrupt your hormones. End of
all right.
story.
So you know where I'm at in vegetables. I mean, how many people believe me that vegetables are deadly?
I don't know. Certainly everyone in the mighty tribe.
Yeah, right on. But so that's a small fraction of the total people of the world. But
Yes.
that doesn't keep me. And that's why I go on every day. That's why I'm inspired to do this, because as a fertility doctor, a doctor in general, my mission, and for you, you're as a mommy, someone that suffered, that's where it's at. That's
Yeah.
where I
Yeah.
think the story is keep sharing. We'll keep sharing with you.
Yeah.
Here's a doctor that believes in you,
Okay. Well, thank you.
and
I
we'll
think it's
go on.
great.
Again, uh, there's it's always looking around and seeing what other people are doing. A good artists borrow, but the best steal,
Yeah.
steal, steal, steal. And I think
Yeah.
that's what you're doing, Afshan. So I
Well,
keep going. We're going to keep
thank you.
sharing.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for hearing my story and letting me tell everyone. And once again, I can't say it enough. If you want to get involved, get involved. If you know someone who would be great to get involved, especially, pregnancy spas, Little Belly Spa, we're hoping to get as a client. We don't have them yet. Media people at Forbes, at Vogue, whatever. Please let them talk to me. At least I can have an article on the science
A
written.
little crumb every day will
Yes.
eventually build,
Build, build.
or a grain of sand will eventually build the block, which will eventually build the foundation, which will build the tower.
Yes.
That's the
Yes.
power. All
Yes.
right.
Well, God bless. Thank
God
you so
bless
much.
you.
Stay
Add my
safe.
best to your little one.
Thank you.
And we'll see at 5 or whenever the next time is, and let's keep sharing. And any new ideas I'll come up with, I'll share them with you. All right.
Okay. Yes, we already changed the hour over here, so it's kind of it's 10 now for me, and I'm always at work at that time. But we'll catch up next week if I don't see you much on Mighty Tribe this week.
Oh, and if you want to do anything interviewing me, sort of for your channel on even
Oh, I
these sort of
love it.
things and how I can kind of give a little bit of advice, those are the good ways to get more watchers, more
Yeah.
eyes, more
Okay.
prize.
We'll
All right.
definitely do that.
All right.
Okay.
God bless.
Thanks. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye.